Good afternoon. It was so good to see you all back last week on campus as we began the second semester, and we're excited about our move to level two today. We hope that this fully in-person level lasts for a good while. We can all see that the numbers in our state and our city are elevated, and the virus is filling our hospitals. Just this past week, we had the 350,000 mark for cases nationally. We also have had members of our own community who have either been seriously ill with the virus and have had some who have lost loved ones to it. This virus and its effects are real. But the good news so far is that the numbers within our school community, which includes students, faculty, and staff, are low enough to allow for in-person learning at this time. Staying in this learning level really will depend on how each of us proceed moving forward. As we mentioned last semester, a natural tendency is to let fatigue set in. We cannot do so. The health and safety of everyone in our school community depends on it. We're glad that we're able to move to level two, but that in no way is a sign that we are out of the woods and that everything is rosy and we can take off our mask and so forth. The vaccine has only begun to be distributed, and the number of cases nationally and even in our state have never been higher. So today, what I wanted to do was make sure that everyone has a good understanding of the structures that we have in place when it comes to our COVID measures. Several of you have been sick and or quarantined and may be familiar with parts of these measures, but I've heard from several of our community that had questions around these, including how these decisions are made to move between learning levels. First, know that we have two groups who play a central role in every decision here on this campus. The Medical Advisory Committee includes only our top school administrators, nurses, but also many of the area's top medical professionals, both doctors with expertise in this area, but also hospital administrators who are on the front lines of battling COVID every day. Any major decision for this school year or move between learning levels goes through this group. The pandemic response team is made up of our top K through 12 administrators and our school nurses, including Nurse Deb. This group meets every afternoon to go over our numbers and discuss any issues that the school is having in relation to the virus. These two groups have been critical to the success that we have seen thus far in making our two campuses safe for everyone. As you've heard me say, if you feel sick, stay home. For the most part, everyone is doing a really great job with this. We understand, though, that there are times when someone doesn't feel sick until they get to school. In that case, the thing to do is to come to see Nurse Deb. If you stay home, be sure to call Nurse Deb. She's our resident expert on how to proceed, and communicating with her is critical. In some cases, she can determine that it does not appear to be COVID related, and once you're 24 hours symptom free, you can return. But if it is a possible COVID case or exposure, she can walk you through these next steps. We do not recommend testing all the time. And when we do, we recommend the PCR test, which takes a little bit longer. The rapid tests are obviously more convenient, but they're not as reliable. We have seen the same thing that the CDC has seen, which is that the rapid tests often result in false negative tests, giving us a false sense of security. Once we know we have begun a positive case, we begin contact tracing for all school events. This is why it's so important that we know where you have been during free periods, consultation times, etc. The QR codes allow us to do this work, and it's important we keep up with these. As you've heard us say, if we wear masks and stay distant on campus, we should not have many high-risk exposures while you're here with us. With the exception of a couple science and math classrooms where we've taken the position to add barriers, our classrooms all have seating that's distanced by at least 6 feet between desks. Break times and hallway transition times are designed to be shorter to reduce exposure of 15 minutes or longer. When there is close contact to someone who is positive or presumed positive, it now triggers a 10-day quarantine. The CDC and state health officials recently reduced the quarantine from 14 to 10 days. If you go the full 10 days without symptoms, then you're free to return. But it's in that case that Nurse Deb will set the return date to school, and be sure to communicate with her before returning. In the case of a low risk exposure, which is the vast majority of exposures here on campus, as we said, we notify students who were in those classes in which a positive student participated. We do not require a quarantine or suggest testing, as it was a low risk exposure. We also want to make sure that we're transparent about our COVID numbers so that everyone in our school knows the updated numbers. If you go to My Randolph, you and your parents have access to our status report, which is updated each day. The status report shows the number of students and employees in each division who are positive or quarantined. This particular photo is from December 18th, and so it does not show our current numbers. I also want to point out the resources such as the learning guides that we have shared to ease the burden of switching to new learning levels. When we started the school year in August, we shared our return to school guide, which had information about all 4 learning levels, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It had the schedules for all of them, with the exception of the change that moved consultation time to the end of the day here in level 2, a change that we made around Labor Day. We've kept all of those schedules the same. Each time we make a transition, we also send out a reminder guide with the schedule and also the A/B day calendar. I hope this clears up any confusion or questions you've had about the systems or structures that we have in place. If you have any questions, send them my way or ask your advisor. This week in athletics, we have a big week for our basketball teams with games against Pope John Paul II, Clements High School, and Arab High School. Indoor track and field has a meet Tuesday in Birmingham, and wrestling will participate in the Tiger Invitational Saturday at Grissom High. We're also excited to announce recognition for some of our fall sport athletes. In volleyball, we're proud of Emma Gold, who was named to the 4A Area 13 All-Area team. In football, Grayson Davenport, Connor Goodson, George Jennings, Nick Strong, and Carter Wimberly were named to the All-Region team, while Evans Bryant, Andrew Hunter, Griffin Kennemer, Noah Reed, and Harrison Wethington were all named honorable mention All-Region. Congrats to those students. In other announcements, we've extended our YLC food drive and fundraiser over the break. Please get any food items to your advisor this week. Also, as you'll see in the fundraiser leaderboard, Coach Morris is clearly in first place, followed by myself, Ms. Hodges, Ms. Santos, Ms. Andrada, and Dr. Green. I ask everyone to find some loose change to bring to the mason jars by the World Language Department. It really will make a significant impact in the work that our YLC group can make in our community. And keep filling Coach Morris's jar with coins, as I know he would really appreciate that pie to the face that goes to the winner. We were not as good as we needed to be at using the QR codes for free periods last week or at the end of the first semester. As I mentioned earlier, it's vital to our contact tracing and health and safety measures that we continue to check in with each free period or consultation time room. Please do so. Also, some of the best highlights of the first semester were the senior speeches that we had during our community times. We have a few scheduled for second semester, but we also have a good number of slots where we could use some more seniors to volunteer. It's a meaningful way to share with your peers what you believe in and maybe lessons learned during your time at Randolph or those you would like to share. We all benefit, and we all appreciate hearing from students with a variety of experiences and backgrounds. So it would be great to have a few more to offer and put together a senior speech. If you're interested, please see Ms. Hillink. Thank you for your time today. It's great to see you all back on campus. Be excellent to each other, and seniors, you are dismissed.